Hey, world. So, um, Mandy is occupied with her day job, and Kelly is tied up with a few things. So it might just be me today, which is okay because I never shut up anyway. So it's awesome. Um, Today is fear and uncertainty. Ironically, a topic that I am way too familiar with. Um, I've had many fears, and I actually used to be scared of uncertainty, terrified of the unknown. It used to eat me up and tear me down, and man, it was so uncomfortable for me to sit in an unknown and just not have a some type of knowing or answer. Right? I didn't like not knowing, and it put me into very strange circumstances, and it carried forward until even very recent times, up until the last couple of months, that I would sacrifice myself out of fear of the unknown, and I would not take a leap or make a decision and be paralyzed because I was so scared of the unknown. In many ways, and then in many ways, I would jump into the unknown without a problem. It was very strange. And I'm still trying to track and trace and understand the core issues of it and work through and heal it. Right? I know that it's not as in the forefront anymore. I'm so much more comfortable with the unknown. I live in it daily, minute by minute, as a solo parent of three children. I think I would have to live in it. Right? It's not really an option. Um, but as I've been understanding my own personal alchemy and living into it in new ways and practicing it daily, adding it to my daily routine. Um, I've learned different ways to process and heal and work with my emotions in an energetic way, and it sticks. And I don't know how far down the rabbit hole people want to listen to this show or go into it, but I've been working on generational traumas. I've been working on spiritual karmic ties, karmic traumas. I've been working on both. I've been working on current and this life's traumas and really trying to break those curses or traumas or everything that comes with it. One thing that I realized is, you know, my biological mother was abused, um, who I didn't speak to until last November. And then my mother was definitely abused, and my father probably was abused to some extent, or at least emotionally shut down generationally. And he did everything in his power to protect me. Um, he did what he knew best, which was to financially provide and to give the best opportunities and options for us. Um, and I resented him. I resented him for that, and I resented money for that too. Uh, I always resented money for that because on an emotional level, I never felt heard or felt or seen. And again, my gifts, um, I always felt diminished and put into a corner and not accepted for who I was. It was always easy to accept it when it worked out in someone's favor. It was always easy to accept everything I am when it's what you want at the time. Um, but when those tough moments come and m- my transparency, living in it, and being as self aware as I am and never shutting it off, um, it makes it definitely difficult for interpersonal relationships. That's for sure. On a enormous level, my whole life I always said that I was emotionally deficient. I think the reality was I felt too much and didn't know how to explain it. Um, I didn't have I didn't give myself the right opportunities to have the right people around me to be able to understand myself at such a level that I was able to work through things rather than go into, toddler tyrants or not be happy if I didn't get what I wanted, or even understand the depth of myself at a level. It wasn't until recently that I really started appreciating my own personal depth emotionally. As far as fears and uncertainty go, there's so many fears, right? There's humanistic fears, which is fear of heights, fear of black cats, fear of all these different things, right? I'm scared of bugs, I'm scared of spiders, I'm scared of snakes, right? I mean, you can think of all these different fears. I'm scared to love. I'm scared to be loved. I'm scared to be loved more than I love because I don't want to feel inadequate. Hey, Kenny, nice to see you, buddy. It's been a long time, my friend. Um, I don't want to feel inadequate if I'm not loving as much as somebody's loving me, or if I'm loving somebody is and they're loving me more or less. Thank you, Kenny. Yeah, it's a great place. The kids love it. They're happy. They're comfortable. Who knows? Maybe one day I'll figure out how to use the fireplace and do an episode with the fireplace on in the background and make it kind of cute. But sounds like a lot of effort for someone like me. Um, you know, I I sit here and I think and I look and I feel, and the more I understand myself, the more depth I go into, the deeper I seek, um, and the more I've realized what I need around me is people that want to keep go on that journey for themselves, right? Not for me, but for themselves. Um, because to be really close to me, I have high demands, and now, granted, there's a lot of rewards for being really close to me as well. I'm an amazing human being. I love deeper than most can even understand. I support, I lift up, I carry, I inspire. Um, and as I'm loving myself and starting to understand myself at a new depth, it's a lot for someone to be willing to do, right? I have the ability to make somebody feel like they're the center of the universe. Uh, and I have the ability to shut it off. And unfortunately, the shutting it off part is fear, right? I'm not worthy of it. I don't deserve to be loved. I am scared to be loved because then I can get hurt and lose it. What I've learned over the most recent time is, as I have this fear around it and as I've been healing through it and understanding myself on a different level, I'm healing those wounds, and I'm open to taking chances and open to just being real with myself and understanding it. I'm getting more comfortable with not having to have the answers for everything. Um, it's taking some time. Um, I make lots of rash decisions at times because for me, it's easier to disconnect, to have my space to do my healing work than it is to stay close and try and work through it. Um, I also don't think I've ever met anybody willing to sit by my side and do it. Um, Again, it's a tall ask, and uncertainty is scary at times, right? Fear, it just consumes us and creates anxiety and worry and sometimes depression, right? Trying to live in the present and trying to stay present can help to remove the anxieties and the worries. Um, but at what point is living your highest path, or being your truest self or best self, worth certain sacrifices or self expectations? I've had many plans for my life that have never even worked out, never even came close. And every time it's the same feeling that, I'm trying to reach this unattainable. rather than just living in the moment and allowing life to give me the blessings that it does. We have a way as humans in always wanting this picture perfect idea of something, but sacrificing what means the most to us, which is usually ourselves, to get it. And then when we look at what is possible and what is in front of us and what is special, we're not willing to sacrifice for that. I find it very ironic that we will sacrifice to stay in pain, but we won't sacrifice to live in a limitless possibility of a scenario. I spent so much of my life hiding from myself and running from myself that I shut off opportunities and pushed away opportunities and pushed away possibilities. And today I'm in a different space. Today I'm willing to take that chance. I'm willing to, you know, see what can come out of things and see how they can grow and evolve. If anybody wants to hop on this live, I don't know if anybody's actually watching it or they're going to watch the replay or not. If anybody wants to hop on and they are watching it, let me know and I'll give you a link. Because again, Mandy couldn't make it today and Kelly's tied up with things also. So if anyone is, please ask and I will send the link, no matter who it is. There is no limits anymore. When we spend time creating these limits for ourselves and telling ourselves that things have to be a certain way and happiness only comes in one shape or form, we really start minimizing any potential of anything. It really ensures failure, and it ensures heartbreak, and it ensures loss, and it ensures grieving. I really wonder why more of us don't allow for possibilities. Maybe it's trauma, maybe it's the way we're raised, maybe it's generational. I mean, I think it's endless possibilities, right? Spend so much time worrying about minute details that I missed a lot of the gifts. I'm choosing not to live that way anymore. I'm choosing not to live in that fear space anymore. I'm choosing to allow things to be what they are with my trust in Source and God and the universe and what it has in store for me. As I'm healing myself at different levels, I'm also helping others heal at different levels. I'm stepping up who I am, what I step into, what I believe in, how I operate on a daily basis. And somebody who knew me a week ago that I haven't spoken to probably wouldn't even understand me today. Um, I feel interesting today. It's a great day. It's a beautiful day. It's beautiful out. It's sunny. It's 50. It's breezy. Like it's gorgeous out. And I'm just enjoying the moments, whatever they are. It's so funny. I remember watching all those rom com movies from like the 80s, and I always had this dream that somebody would do something grandiose for me, right, to prove how much I mean to them. What I've learned over the past couple weeks, few months, or a few weeks, maybe a month or two, is I have to do those gestures for myself. I have to go into such a firm line for myself that I'm willing to do whatever it takes to show myself how much I love myself, to show myself that I am worth healing, to show myself that I'm not going to settle for anything partial. Um, Again, there's certain things that I will accept in my life and that I won't. I'm okay with being friendly with anyone. I believe in it. I forgive. I forget. Sometimes takes longer than others, depending on what it is. Um, but to be real close to me, there's certain things that I need as a person, as a being, as a spiritual being in my life, and I don't want to be minimized anymore. I don't want to feel minimized. I don't want to only be part of myself with anyone. I don't want to put myself in a position. Hey, Samantha, nice to see you. I don't want to put myself in a position where I feel like I need to always explain myself, that I'm never understood and I'm never just felt. Um, Samantha, you want to join the live? You're more than welcome. Although I do know it's early out there, so I can send you the link. We're talking about fear and uncertainty. My two co-hosts are not able to make it, so I'm kind of just winging it, which also leads to me going on very random tangents in different topics. So it's kind of entertaining at times too. I don't think that there's a one way to do anything. I think because of my gifts and abilities, I see people's paths, um, and I want them to be on their path so much that I almost get over invested in getting them to their path, or helping them get to see their path, and it becomes very annoying. But what I do know is, I'm sure that's not true, Samantha. But what I do know is, for the right people at the right time, it is exactly what they need. And none of us are meant for everyone at any point in time in our lives. What we are meant for is the ones that were meant to be able to be there for, help, assist, lift up, inspire to be self-inspired, empower to be self-empowered. The greatest gifts that anyone can ever give is to give somebody their own strength, to give somebody their own knowledge and wisdom and ability to help themselves, right? And, you know, over these last few years, as I have become more public and more open about who I am, what I've been through, how I can be there for others, I've learned a lot of lessons of overdoing for others and wanting it more than they want it, and trying to inspire more than they want to be inspired. Everybody has their own path, everybody has their own journey, and for me, the hardest thing to do is to sit back and allow those closest to me to take their own journey at times and be in pain when I really want to be able to help them to avoid some of it. And I do it with the best intent possible, but it does come off the wrong ways at times. Uh, I've been told that I have dick mode, which I'm always have worked on. I am not as blunt and harsh as I used to be, but it's an ever evolving process, right? The fear is, will I be accepted for who I am? Hey, Senior Prasada, let the monsters out. you know, what I've learned through a lot of the shamanistic practices and routines I'm doing is that we all have light and dark inside. We all have our own monsters. We all have our own shadows. The goal isn't to replace them. The goal is to allow them to coexist with the light, with the positive, with the beauty that we hold within. Because we can't feel whole until we possess both and allow them to merge or coexist. And through the practices, I've been doing that. And it's made an enormous impact in my life, and others that I've shown and helped and guided towards it. It's made an enormous impact in their lives. Yes, Samantha. Society accepting individuality is that's a concept, because We have systems created to fit the majorities in all different ways. Every system is created for the majority. Nobody wants to take time for the individual person. Starts with corporations, starts with school, starts with doctors, starts with everything. We have these time constraints that we've self manifested upon ourselves that have really controlled how we're able to interact and engage with others. These time constraints and trying to control time, coming from somebody who used to do that all the time, which was me. Um, I wanted things now. I didn't want to wait. I didn't want to be patient. I didn't want to allow things to be to see what they can turn out to be. Again, goes back to the fear of uncertainty, goes back to fear of loss, fear of grieving, fear of anything, right? Over time, I've learned that each day, I learn time matters less and less. I've learned that not that I don't value myself because I do tremendously, but I will always go out of my way to be there for somebody. I will always go out of my way to be there for a stranger and without regard for my time, because it's also the greatest gift I can give anyone. When you stop for a moment and you really look around where you're at, what's going on, who might be hurting, who's in a bad space, and you lean into your heart, your empathy, your heart chakra, if you want to go real spiritual, and you allow yourself to hold space and be in there with it with them. It is the greatest gift you can give anyone. Is that safe space? Um, is that warm space, unconditional love, to be able to inspire them to be a better version of themselves with each moment, each choice, each decision. Right? There is no wrong decisions. There's just consequences, good and bad. And as long as we're willing to be accountable to ourselves, and as long as we're willing to be accountable to anyone that we might hurt in this process, because people always get hurt, um, then there is no wrong choice. Everything's exactly as it's meant to be, as strange as that sounds at times, but it is. And I've learned not to fight that anymore, and I've learned not to try and control that. Doesn't mean I don't have limits. No, I have limits. Um, I will diminish myself to an extent for a short period of time, uh, but on the contingency that after that period of time, the other person won't require me to do that anymore. So as we all go through these evolutions, these changes, our vibration frequency changes, who we coexist with, who we have in our lives does, and then the dynamics change. And when dynamics don't change, they need to be broken. And only once they're broken can two individuals create a new dynamic in a new way as strangers again. Because the reality is we change every day. And just because we might know somebody's past, we might uh, yes, I have, Samantha, many times diminish myself. Um, just because, mostly out of fear, just because we need to walk away from people's situations, scenarios, doesn't mean that it's a permanent thing. It just means that you just never know what's going to happen over time, and only time can be the healing that needed for it to come back in a new dynamic, whatever that may be. Um, there's certain things, toxic situations, people that have narcissistic patterns, behaviors, have unhealed traumas, and they can't treat people right, that need to be, that nobody should walk back into, right? Like there are people that need to be removed permanently, and then there's people that just need to step away for a short period of time to really understand and address what's going on. I'm at 25 minutes of rambling. Nobody's complained yet. Don't know who's watching still, but that's kind of entertaining. I been a while since I've done one of these live rants on where I'm at today in the world. I have fully opened my heart chakra. I have fully stepped into my shamanistic practices and healings. I am continuing to evolve daily. I am healing all anger, hurt, pain, and the feelings of being distraught. And I am learning to live in love and in love with myself and in love with what I can bring to the world, in love how I reflect to others, and constantly being a reminder for them of what they can be for themselves. But again, it takes a lot of self awareness, a lot of work, a lot of effort, and a lot of self compassion because we all make mistakes. And if we can't forgive ourselves, then we can't expect anybody else to forgive us. So, on that note, I'm going to end this live. I hope everybody has an amazing Wednesday. And I love everyone. I love humanity, and I believe in humanity, and I believe in each individual to be their best selves. And if there's anything I can do to help anyone get there, please let me know. Have a great day.